WNDS Sports presents Candlepin Stars and Stripes, featuring the best candlepin bowlers from all over New England. And now in our 15th season, your hosts for Candlepin Stars and Stripes, Dick Lutz and Mike Moore.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Candlepin Stars and Strikes from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dick Lutz with Mike Moore, and today we begin our 5th championship series. Over the course of the next 4 weeks, 5 bowlers will compete for a chance for a berth in our Tournament of Champions at the end of the year. Thus far, we already have 4 qualifiers.
We do, with only a couple more ladders to go, Dick, and just to bring everybody up to date, the 4 bowlers from the top: Jack Ray at 407, followed by Don Richmond, Gary Santora, and last week's ladder champion was Steve Plant. He comes in at the number 4 seed so far at 353.
Let's meet our bowlers in our first match of this new ladder series. First, our number 5 seed from Pembroke, New Hampshire, is Kevin Davis.
Kevin Davis has been on WNDS 15 times. Haven't seen him for a couple of years. Average of 121. High single 201, high triple 483. King Lanes in Manchester's where he does his bowling.
And, of course, he will be taking on the number 4 seed in this opening match of this new ladder series. That's Jason Esielionis of Fitchburg, Massachusetts.
And this is Jason's television debut. We wish him lots of luck. Comes in with an average of 118, high single 183. Jason's high triple is 435, bowls at a couple of different places. New Palace Lanes in Fitchburg and Putnam Street Lanes also in Fitchburg, Mass.
We start out with $1,000 in our triple strike jackpot. If either of our bowlers can put 3 strikes together, they'll walk out of here with a grand this afternoon. Let's get right to it. It's our first match of our 5th ladder series as Candlepin Stars and Strikes continues from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire on WNDS TV. We'll be right back with today's match. There you see the 5 bowlers who comprise this 5th ladder series. Top seed Rich Clark, Sean Baker, Steve Vadney, and today's match, number 4 Jason Esielionis taking on 5th seed Kevin Davis, and Kevin will be first to bowl here this afternoon as we get this match started from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dick Lutz with Mike Moore, and great to have you with us for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Here's the first ball of the match thrown by Kevin Davis from Pembroke, New Hampshire.
And 5 pins go down, leaving the 1, the 2, the 5, 8, and 9.
And will he convert? Not quite, almost, for Kevin, who comes in with an average of 121, a high single of 201, a high triple of 483. And he rolled a 632 in the roll-off for his 5th seed here this afternoon, and he starts off with a 10 buck. Lots of letters and cards from Candlepin Stars and Strikes fans arrived at our WNDS studios over the past couple of weeks. We'll be talking about them to you, reading some of them to you, and encouraging you to write to us.
These 2 bowlers pretty evenly matched in terms of average, although you have to give the edge to Kevin Davis in terms of television experience.
And he picks up a spare in his 2nd frame, converting. Well done by Kevin Davis in box number 2 for the first mark of the match. Of course, during the course of the match, you'll hear us talk about bonus money. Bonus money for our bowlers. If they can put 3 marks together, they'll get $50 in bonus money. Each subsequent mark is worth another $20. 3 strikes in a row is worth $1,000 this week. We begin with $1,000 in the pot. As we look at Jason Esielionis for the first time. And he starts off with a 9 box. Jason, a mere pup, just 23 years old, and his first television appearance ever. You know there have to be butterflies.
He has a lot of family members here with him today, and appears to be calm. But who knows what's going on inside. First time on television.
He picks up a spare, and that'll take care of some of the queasiness at the start for Jason Esielionis as he matches Kevin Davis. Spare in the 2nd box. Davis 15 times on WNDS over the course of the past several years. He's 31 years old, works for Fastenal, an industrial supplier, also works at Fieldhouse Sports, and
indoor soccer facility in Bow. They're springing up all over the landscape. Here's another great shot by Kevin Davis for his second mark in a row.
That was the Four Horsemen and a couple other pins as you have another look at it.
Not an easy shot, to be sure. Kevin also an avid snowmobiler, he was telling me before the broadcast today, and he's on the board of directors of the Youngsville Junior Baseball League, so he's very active. He and his wife Amber have a son Adam who's 9 years old.
Not real great wood there for him.
And he's unable to convert the spare.
Would have been some bonus money early on, but it didn't work out for him. The 4-pin is now down for the 10 box.
51 through 4 boxes for Kevin Davis, and Jason Esielionis works on a mark in his second box. Jason, 23 years old, is a machinist at Mohawk Wire and Cable in Leominster. He just puts 2 in the spare with a half Worcester. More responses coming in for our half Worcester question. They continue to come in, and look at that spare. Converting the half Worcester. 2 marks in a row for Jason Esielionis, and a chance for bonus money for him. Again, off the head pin, puts 5 in the spare.
A little off balance on that shot. Probably totally oblivious to his surroundings, the newness of first television appearance.
Unable to put 3 marks together, leaving just the 5-pin. And a 10 box. And 5 pins separate our boulders through 4 boxes of our first string. Jason and his girlfriend Dawn are parents to Megan, who's 1 year old, and his hobbies are softball and golf.
He has that golfer's body, very long and lanky, tall, thin frame.
Looking at his averages over the past 4 years, he's a relatively new bowler, and he started out with a 110, moved up to 113, and now he's averaging 118 as Kevin Davis converts the spare.
These guys are missing the head pin like crazy on the first ball, but picking up these strange combinations of spares, so they're making it look easy so far.
That time on the head pin. Fills the spare with 7. And leaves another spare opportunity with some pretty good wood there.
You'll want to hit the 2-pin, the object pin, a little bit more on the right-hand side.
And I'll take it. 4 marks in 6 boxes for Kevin Davis.
And we're just breezing along here in the early stages. Our first of 4 bowling weeks in this 5th ladder.
Esielionis on the head pin that time, but not much to show for it. There is some wood that could help him.
Having that 2-pin go down at the last second didn't do him any favors either.
Well, he scattered some of the wood, but 3 pins still stand. That'll be a 9 box. Kevin Davis has opened up a 13-pin lead, and he has a mark going for him in the 6th box. Off the head pin, but will it go? It will. Will it take the 10 pin? It will not. The 1 and the 10 remain.
But he's got some frozen wood hanging out of the gutter, but didn't hit the object pin, so moot point.
And that's an 8th box. A couple of open frames for Jason Esielionis, allowing Kevin Davis to add to his lead. It's 15 pins plus whatever he gets on this ball. And it'll be 7 on the ball, so a 22-pin lead.
Kevin has a bit of side spin on his ball, fairly typical of a 10-pin bowler. Ball spinning from right to left.
And 3 marks in a row for Kevin Davis. That's $50 in bonus money. And his 5th mark in 7 boxes in the first string. And he buried that one in the pocket. 8 in the spare.
That's
and
not
another spare leave.
Not wood that he would like to see, however. Pretty much have to cap it, I would think.
He tried to do just that and shot it by it. Our thanks to Dexter Burrell from Manchester, New Hampshire, who wrote in answering one of the questions that we had out there last week. The name for Webster Lake, we were talking about Webster Lake during one of our earlier broadcasts, and I'm going to give it a shot with the number of letters that are here. There are a bunch of them. It's Chagog, Gagog, Manchagagog, Gog, Chagagog, and Nagamagagaga, something like that. And it stands, you fish on your side, I'll fish on my side, nobody fish in the middle. It's, how many letters are there? I'll count them right now.
Well, I can tell you, I also received some mail regarding that, Dick, from our good friend Tony Zernicke. He used to run the WCBC. And he actually sent me a postcard from the lake. Dick is busy counting the letters. I'll tell you what's happening on the lanes there. 3 and the 5 are up for Jason Esielionis, who finds himself better than 30 pins behind Kevin Davis. Jason not bowling badly, but Kevin bowling that much better so far.
Oh, just missed the spare there. 37 letters in that one word, that one Indian word. That's a 10 box for Jason Esielionis.
So there's the postcard from Tony Zernicke. He even phoneticized it for me, sent me a little note, said you can practice it and spring it on Dick, but Dick pulled a preemptive strike and mentioned it before I could bring it up. Incidentally, as a side note regarding Tony Zernicke, been a little under the weather lately, so if you know him or send him a little card, unable to be with us today, generally comes down for our tapings once a month here at Leda Lanes in Nashua. Lives in Webster, right near the lake. Hope you're feeling better, Tony. Look forward to seeing you next month.
Kevin with the spread eagle, unable to convert it. And he'll take an 8 box, 120 through 9 for Kevin Davis. Crossed over to the Brooklyn side and got the strike. First strike in the match goes to Kevin Davis in the 10th box. That's his 6th mark in the first string. He's at 130. He's above his average in this first string. Right in the pocket again. Remember, $1,000 for 3 strikes in a row. The crowd buzzing on Kevin Davis' second shot right there. He is at 139. A 140 first string for Kevin Davis, putting the pressure on young Jason Esielionis, who has 81 through 8 and really needs a mark or 2 to close out the first string. And there's a strike for Jason Esielionis. That's a good way to respond. He could use another one right here. He's in the pocket. Hit it a little bit full and couldn't break up the split.
Can you imagine coming on television for your first time ever, rolling 3 strikes in a row and bagging $1,000?
Tried to play the wood. Can he get it to go? Yes, he can! What a great spare for Jason Esielionis. He's at 111 plus the ball. And he's back in the match. And $50 in bonus money to close it out. What a finish for Jason Esielionis to finish with a 121, a 19-pin lead for Kevin Davis, going to string number 2 of Candlepin Stars and Strikes from Leda Lanes in Nashua. We'll be right back. Those of you who watch Candlepin Stars and Strikes are very observant viewers. We had a letter from Trudy McKenzie of Marblehead, Massachusetts, asking about the green logo on the Candlepin. that is here at Leda Lanes, and I'll tell you about that as we get back to action. Jason can step right up and we'll get to bowling, and we'll talk about the green logo on the Candlepins here at Leda Lanes and where it comes from and why it's there as we go to string number 2 with a 19-pin lead for Kevin Davis over Jason Esielionis at Leda Lanes in Nashville, 140 to 121. Both bowlers finishing strongly in that first string. Trudy McKenzie from Marblehead writes, since having acquired a new 27-inch TV, I noticed the green decoration on the pins. Nobody I've talked with has noticed this. Would you please tell me what it is on the red lines on the pins, and if it's true in other bowling establishments? Well, that green logo says Garland Manufacturing of Saco, Maine, and that's who manufactures the bowling pin, and that's their logo on the pin. And there's a strike for Jason in the second box of the second string after an 8 box.
Give you a few of the dimensions of a Candlepin bowling pin, because they do deceivingly look quite small from a distance of 60, 65 feet or so. The height is 15 3/4 inches. Across, it's a little less than 3 inches, and the maximum weight of a Candlepin bowling pin is 2 pounds 8 ounces, which is actually more than the bowling ball itself, which can't max out more than 2 pounds 7 ounces. And that's why they ricochet and carry them around the way they do, because the weights are roughly equal in everything.
Trudy, thank you very much for the letter and your observation, and it's constantly a source of revelation to Michael and me of things that people notice when they watch the show.
Next we'll be getting questions. What was that green spot on your tie? Was that from lunch today, Dick, or had that close-up of you?
Davis with a 9 in the first frame. Punches through in the second box. Follows it right through with the second ball. He's found the groove.
Of course, you know, the bowling pins at the bowling center where you folks may bowl at, the logo may have worn off a long, long time ago. Not unusual for a set of bowling pins to be over 10 years old. The bottoms are shaved every so often so that they will sit flat on the plate and cleaned up a little bit, but we use the clean new pins here at Leda Lanes for the broadcast.
And of course they used to be wood and now they're plastic coated, and the action on the pin is a lot different than it used to be.
Yeah, there's actually no wood at all. It is totally plastic and hollow in the middle.
Jason puts 7 in the strike. He's picked up 10 pins, and he'll have an 8 box. And you can send in your cards and letters to WNDS 50 Television Place, Derry, New Hampshire, 03038. Or to Leda Lanes right here in Nashua as Jason tries to convert the spare. We do enjoy hearing from you, and the response to our half Worcester question of a couple of series ago was overwhelming. It was really terrific. 9 box for Jason.
Dick and I wept openly after the taping session at the wonderful response. You folks have a question, you give us a little letter there or something. We'll find the answer for you.
Now the spread eagle for Kevin Davis. And he puts it right through again. Oops. Just as he did on lane 33 last time. And he'll take a 5 box that follows a 6 box. Very unusual. He had a 140 in the first string, and he is without a mark through 3 boxes of the second string. That time he put it to the Brooklyn side, but he leaves himself a very difficult shot.
So a 19-pin lead evaporates very quickly, and this is now a very even match.
An 8 box. He's picked up 14 of the 19. It's a 5-pin lead as we go to the break. We'll come back to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Jason Esielionis will be first to bowl in the 5th box of the second string. He now trails Kevin Davis by 5 pins, having picked up 14 of the 19 he trailed after one. Esielionis on the head pin. Breaks up the split, and they still go. Now he has a makeable shot.
3-5-6. Wood behind. Pins off spot just a little, but he missed the object pin, the 3.
Another note from viewer Jay Karen. Unfortunately, the letter doesn't say where Jay is from, and the envelope is among the missing. So, Jay, thank you very much for writing in. Just a short note to say I enjoy the show very much, and I'm thankful Mr. Cimino, Ray Cimino, sees the opportunity to have at least one Candlepin show on the airwaves. And he asks a question, Michael. We talked about it before the broadcast. I'm surprised there isn't a lob line, Judge, used on the show.
Yeah, that's a good question. The old Channel 5 show had Ralph Stewart. I'm sure a lot of viewers will remember him. I guess the thinking is that lobbing is generally not a problem on our show, and with the professional bowlers, I think that's something they kind of police themselves. And if it were to be abused, probably one bowler would say something to the other. It's nothing that is required. The lob line is 10 feet from the foot foul line, and if your ball lands before the lob line, it is a legal shot. If it goes beyond the 10-foot lob line, you get 0 for that particular throw.
And the general consensus, we were talking with Leda Lane's manager, Sean Howard, before we came on the air today, is that the bowler who lobs is at a disadvantage. He's not controlling his ball as well as the bowler who doesn't lob, and he's penalizing himself by lobbing.
What happens when you lob the ball, it doesn't actually start rolling or spinning or rotating, you know, until further down the lane, which gives it that much less time to build up some good momentum. So you're right. You don't really do yourself a service by lobbing the ball. Kevin
in the pocket that time. He's gone 5 boxes without a mark in the second string. He had 6 marks in the first string.
Only a 37.5 for Kevin Davis after a fabulous 140.
Jay Karen also notes in his letter to us, as Kevin picks up the spare, that he tapes every ladder series and sends it to family members in North Carolina. Spreading the gospel.
So we have tapes from Maine going to Florida, and now we have this particular gentleman sending them to North Carolina.
Thank you very much. Nice to hear from you too. Jason puts 5 in his spare. He's on the head pin. Will he convert? No. And a 10 box. Jason Esielionis has a high single of 183, a high triple of 435. He bowled a 634 in the roll-off here at Leda Lanes.
Only bowling 4 years. It's pretty amazing.
He'll be open in this frame with a 9 box. 86 through 8.
Our winner today, Dick, takes home $100 for his efforts. The winner goes on to face Steve Vadney, our 3rd seed in next week's broadcast.
Kevin puts 5 in his spare, matching the 5 that Jason had in his mark. A very close match at this point. We've seen it time after time, Michael, in the matches that we've covered over the past couple of years, how a bowler can get red hot in one string, roll a 140 or a 150 or whatever it might be, and in the next string come back with a 98 or a 102. It's the nature of the game. It's what makes it so unique.
Now that was a skip lob, yeah, for those wondering. And that is legal because the ball actually touched the lane before the 10-foot lob line, although it bounced a couple of times, almost like skipping a stone on water. It's a skip lob, and it is a legal shot.
Jason answers with a pocket shot. The 9-pin wobbles but will not go. And the wood sets up right in front of it, not in a good position for Jason. It's just off to the side. Very difficult shot to make right here.
He could actually cap it and miss it.
Oh, you got it. Just caught a piece of the pin.
Both bowlers coming alive a little more so in the second half of this game.
In the pocket on the Brooklyn side, a 5-pin fill. be open in the 10th frame. He is currently at 107. A 110 second string for Jason Esielionis. Kevin Davis working on a strike. $1,000 for 3 strikes in a row.
So he's earned $333.33 so far.
But he has to give it back.
Yes. 10 pin remains. And some wood, which he'll bypass, I'm quite sure.
Marks in a row, a chance for some bonus money for Kevin right here. And he's getting his lead back up to where it was, or close to it. That doesn't help.
Saw this spare made a couple of weeks ago, I believe, by Mike Morgan.
Yep. And that will be a good 9 box. And he finishes with a 105, so he gives back 5 pins, a 14-pin lead for Kevin Davis, going to the 3rd and final string of this opening match of this 5th ladder series on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. We'll be right back to Leda Lanes in just a moment. Kevin Davis will be first to bowl in the 3rd string. And he takes a 14-pin lead into the final string of this match with Jason Esielionis. Read a couple more letters from viewers during the course of the 3rd string. In the pocket that time, but a split remains for Kevin Davis. Howard and Carol Finkelwright from Port Charlotte, Florida, Michael.
Now, how the heck are they getting us down there, Dick?
Here it is. I'll tell you that. I knew you were going to ask.
Am I that obvious?
Believe it or not, we watch Candlepin Stars and Strikes from Port Charlotte, Florida. However, we only see the show when our friends from Brockton, Massachusetts, Ed and Beth Power, tape the shows and send it to us. That's nice to know that Ed and Beth are providing that service.
Illegally taping our show.
Do they have written permission, I wonder?
I don't think so, but we'll give it to them.
And you wanted to know why Candlepins hasn't caught on around the country. Well, no one but New Englanders and Canadians know about it. Did WNDS ever consider putting Stars and Strikes on satellite? Hadn't thought about that. Maybe people around the country who have dishes might get to know the game. It would also keep transplanted New Englanders like us caught up with what's happening in my wife's favorite sport. She bowled Candlepins for years at Wright Brothers Sports Center in Holbrook, Massachusetts, and usually had about a 106 average. Here in Florida, no one has ever heard of Candlepins. All they know is 10-pin. So we should get Chief Engineer Paul Hunter on the case and get us up on satellite.
See if we can't have that set for you folks next week. Call your local cable provider. Port where? Charlotte?
Jason Esielionis, that 10-pin is still rocking. There it goes. And here comes the wood. Won't get there.
Not enough left to take down the 3-pin.
But he converts with a spare in the first box of the 3rd string. Trailing in the match by 14 pins, entering the string. That time he punches through right on the nose. Spread eagle -1.
Mentioned Steve Vadney is our bowler next week to take on today's winner. Better than 100 television appearances.
He almost picked up the spare. It would have been a beauty. This match is virtually even right now. That's a 9 box.
They're about 10 pins apart now. In favor of Kevin Davis, who steps up on lane 34. This is game number 3.
Howard and Carol Finkel from Port Charlotte, Florida also get into the conversation about 5-pin bowling, which we've talked about over the past couple of weeks, which is a Canadian game, one that I've not seen. With 5 pins on the deck and a spare for Kevin right there. 5 pins on the deck, each pin assigned a point value, and
the score is determined that way.
I'm wondering if there's a Canadian equivalent to Candlepin Stars and Strikes for the 5-pin game that folks might be aware of that could send us some tapes.
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Make sure you get express written permission from the television station doing that broadcast, though. We'd hate to see you go to taping jail.
Could there possibly be a Canadian equivalent to Mike Moore? And there's a spare for Kevin Davis in the 4th frame as he doubled up. Playing the Canadian hits in the afternoon and bowling on weekends. Jason Esielionis with a strike. Now the bowlers are warming up to the occasion here in the 3rd string. Now he missed the head pin that time.
And the infamous half Worcester 3-9 punch down. Doesn't lose anything. It's the first ball on the strike.
Now that time he missed the head pin again. Only able to put 5 in the strike. Needed a better fill that time, and he has to take a 6 box. We go to the break with Kevin Davis in command in this 3rd string of our first match of the 5th ladder series on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV from Leda Lanes in Nashua. We'll be right back. All right, here's Kevin Davis with a 15-pin lead plus a ball, and in the ball he puts an 8.
Much better weather today in February for our taping than we had a month ago, and reflected in the size of the crowd.
Just missed the mark. And $50 in bonus money. And he'll take a 10 box.
Ball faded quickly from right to left, just barely hitting the head pin. On the Brooklyn side, it's the 6, 9, 10 on one side, the 7 in the other corner with some wood.
He played it well, but couldn't convert it. Calvin Randall from Seabrook, New Hampshire, wrote in a response, a very similar response to our half Worcester question, which we've had over the past several weeks. Dedicated viewer to Candlepin bowling for many years, explains that Don Gillis on the Channel 5 show talked about a team from Worcester bowling a team from Boston, and when a bowler from the Worcester team punched through the 2 and 9, a fan in the crowd yelled back they were halfway back to Worcester, and that's how that term originated. There's Jason Esielionis burying a strike. He's had a couple of strikes that have been instantaneous shots. That's his 2nd strike of the string, and he's in the pocket this time. Hold your breath. Jason has to sit down and think about it now, because the next time he steps to the line, he'll be looking at a $1,000 shot.
I'm still waiting for him to crack a smile. I haven't seen any sign of joy yet from the young man who's making his bowling debut.
And look at Kevin Davis respond.
Well, that's 3 in a row between the 2 of them. Can we let him split the $1,000?
Does not count according to the rules.
Darn.
As we make up the rules as we go.
Not our money. What do we care?
Kevin Davis looks for a 2-bagger. He missed the head pin.
Wouldn't that be the ultimate unfortunate situation to do it right after somebody won $1,000?
That'd still be worth 500. On the head pin, not able to convert the spare. He puts 7 in the strike. And he'll take a 10 box. All right, now Jason Esielionis will step to the line. A 9 box.
$1,000 in cash. We'll give it to him. We're going to get a strike here.
Here's the shot on the head pin, but not much to show for it. And he's not able to convert the spare. And a 9 box.
We're virtually even, aren't we? Well, Kevin Davis with a strike has pulled ahead again.
Boy, Jason is a very fast bowler. He gets up there and takes care of business.
It's about a 9-pin lead as I look at it. Just missed the head pin. Needed to convert the mark there. It's a 9-box. Box to box, a 9-pin lead in the match with 2 frames remaining.
Less than a mark separating our 2 bowlers in the final 2 frames. We've come this far to be at this point.
And Kevin Davis tries to close the door. His second mark in the last 3 boxes, second strike in the last 3 boxes. Watch it again in the pocket. Looking for 2 in a row. A little thin on the hit that time, but leaves himself a makeable spare.
It's the 2-4-7. Can virtually assure himself of a win with the spare here.
Missed it. Well, the door's open a little bit for Jason, but just a little.
Need at least a double strike to even have a chance.
129 and a 374 for Kevin Davis.
Jason needs 145 to win.
Well, they continue to fall. Wood all over the deck with the 7 and 10 still standing. And he must make this.
Then he needs a strike on top of that.
There they go.
A strike spare would give him a 1-pin win. It's that simple.
Missed the head pin, just nipped the head pin actually, didn't get it full. Kevin Davis will advance. He will bowl next week. He'll climb the ladder. And he'll take on 3rd seed Steve Vadney in next week's match as we come back to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire to meet our bowlers in just a moment as Candlepin Stars and Strikes continues on WNDS TV. Final score of the match was 374 to 360 with Kevin Davis defeating Jason Esielionis. Let's bring up our runner-up for this afternoon's match, Jason Esielionis from Fitchburg, Massachusetts. Jason, first of all, a check for $100. Come right in a little bit closer. $50 in bonus money. This was your first time on television. What was it like? What did it feel like?
It wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be, but I gave it a run. It wasn't enough.
You had a mark very early on in the first string. That takes some of the butterflies out?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Even the warm-ups helped me. Just out here in front of everybody.
Well, it was the first time on. Hopefully we'll see you back before too long. Jason Esielionis from Fitchburg, Massachusetts. Runner-up here this afternoon. Now we'll have the bonus ball contest. Kevin Davis will roll a ball and we'll try to match him up with a viewer at home. $10 in the jackpot. We had a winner last week. So Kevin's ready to bowl the bonus ball contest. And it is 7. Somebody from the crowd yelled out 7, and 7 is what it is. Let's see.
7
about 90% of those postcards have 7 on them.
I'll be the one to pull out one that
Mike
isn't
will
7.
reach in there and grab a postcard. What does it say?
7.
7.
Yeah.
Janet Pidge from Watertown, Massachusetts. $10 to Janet, and 10 free strings of bowling go to Ms. Vivian Majewski of Revere, Massachusetts, the second card pulled out of the match. We bring Kevin Davis in. Kevin, we have $50 in bonus money for you and a chance to move on, and Jason made a run at you, but you held him off.
Yeah, you threw that double. I started looking over there and saying 14 pins don't last too long. Fortunately for me, you got a bad fill on the first strike, a tough spare. Didn't come up with it, and I ended up throwing a couple strikes also and got the win.
Mike and I were talking about how unique Candlepin bowling is. You had a 140 in the first string, and then, what, 5 boxes in the second string without a mark?
Yeah, I had a 28 half or a 28 after 4. I'm looking over there saying that ain't too good, but it worked out in the end.
I'm wondering if we can get Kevin to admit the story here that you almost overslept for today's match.
I never oversleep for anything. Come on. I was on time. Yeah, I woke up at like 10 past 9. I had to be here for 9:45.
And he made it. And he's the winner here this afternoon, and he will advance on to take third seed Steve Vadney. Congratulations. We'll see you next week. Kevin Davis, our winner here this afternoon, and up the ladder we go.
We do. We have one of the most seasoned bowlers from WNDS and indeed the whole Candlepin bowling game, Steve Vadney, here next week. We saw him last season, so he's back again, see if he can't make a run for the top of the ladder.
Again, the final score here this afternoon, Kevin Davis 374, Jason Esielionis 360. Both win $50 in bonus money. Davis advances to take on Steve Vadney next week in our second match. For Mike Morin and our entire WNDS TV 50 crew from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, I'm Dick Lutz. Thanks for watching Candlepin Stars and Strikes. We'll see you next time, everyone, from Leda Lanes in Nashua. So long.